Get ready. It's time. Christina, Catherine, Amy, and Lauren. Welcome to the Cimorelli podcast.
Hey, I'm Christina.
I'm Catherine.
I'm Amy.
I'm Lauren.
And we're Cimorelli. Welcome back to
the Cimorelli podcast.
Oh, this is
She
sad.
took Lisa's spot.
I didn't do it nearly as well.
We traded in one for another. So welcome back, Kath, to the podcast.
Hey.
And Lisa, we'll see you again soon.
We will.
She's coming back.
See you again.
But currently she's out and Kath's in. So guys,
Hey,
hello.
Kay.
Welcome to the Cimorelli podcast. And let's see, what do I say first? This one is on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. If you want double the episodes, you have to join our Patreon. Links in the description. We have double the episodes. There's 20 episodes of this season there. You're only getting 10 on YouTube. So if you love the podcast so much, you got to check out our Patreon. There's actually more than just that. There's a lot of stuff on there. Too much to list, TBH. And the last episode that we did was New Year's resolutions and how to fall in love this year.
That was pretty wild.
And coming up, how we deal with depression and anxiety. Oof. It's going to be a deep, helpful one. So sign up for our Patreon, link in the description. Check that out. All right. So first,
before we start, everyone pause. Well, don't pause. Whatever. Scroll down and comment, welcome back, Kathy. Just
Thanks.
do it. Just do it.
Oh,
and
that's
then
nice
while
of
you're
you.
there, why don't you just
I
subscribe?
thought Amy was
okay?
going to go. Have you guys seen that TikTok? Holy Spirit, activate. You
thought she was gonna do that?
Spirit,
Yeah, we were just
activate.
talking about that the
I thought
other
Amy
day.
was like, pause.
No.
Holy Spirit.
No.
Everyone got to say hi to Kath, you know?
Actually, I was going to say we need to address the elephant in the room. Yes, Laura and I are wearing the same shirt.
Oh, I forgot.
No, we did not plan this.
And yes, Christina does white loads and I don't. That's why hers looks better.
This is what happens if you separate your whites from your
do you use
coloreds
bleach in it?
the
No.
wash.
I never
Just
use
normal
bleach.
wash, but white?
I just avoid the dark colors.
Okay.
That is too far. Sorry.
Yeah,
I got to
so-
learn how to do it.
I thought it was pointless, and then I learned it's not. Okay, so let's start with my least favorite segment. What did you have for breakfast this morning?
Why do you
Okay.
hate it?
I don't know. I
She
just think
just-
it's boring.
yeah.
Okay, you.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
But Lisa's like,
No, we have to do it.
Oh, we
It's
can skip it
fun,
'cause Lisa's
okay,
not here.
Rats?
No, just say it.
okay, go.
I had actually in a shocking turn of events, I had a piece of quiche from Publix,
Wow.
What's Publix?
the grocery store.
I'm just representing the people that
we didn't know in
that don't
California
know
what
what
it
it
was.
is.
Publix is a grocery store.
Because Publix sounds like it's like the DMV or something. I don't know.
It
Sounds
does?
like
a lot of people don't know what that is
public
either.
service. Or something.
Okay, whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Shocking.
just had 2 eggs. Not really enough for breakfast, TBH.
Interesting.
It happens to the best of us.
Okay, I had one piece, which isn't my norm, of French toast made with sourdough. Again, not my norm, but it actually turned out so good.
French
Sourdough
toast.
is so
It was
good.
really, really good.
Sourdough French toast. Is that seems weird because it's like sour.
It wasn't
and
sour at
sweet.
all. It just turned out really. I was shocked. It was shocking.
Toasted.
I guess the stuff would kind of cover the sour.
Yeah, it wasn't sour at all.
That's so interesting. Maybe when you
know.
cook it.
So good.
I had I'm obsessed with these. Who am I? I used to hate yogurt. It's like these yogurt
Love
drinks.
yogurt.
Do you remember when you were a
gross.
kid?
Oh, no,
Do you remember
not
the
a
kid
drink.
that was Danimals yogurt drinks?
No.
Okay, honestly, it's just like a smoothie.
No.
It tastes like a creamy smoothie.
It's a little different.
Strawberry banana Chobani yogurt drinks. It has 10 grams of protein and 5 strains of probiotics. So get one at the store. That's my dad for it. They're really
that's
good.
nice.
And I literally have them like every day. They're so good. And then oatmeal.
You
2
eat
packets.
oatmeal?
2 packets of instant oatmeal. I think I had brown sugar maple. I only eat instant oatmeal. I hate oatmeal made from actual
No,
scratch.
it's good.
It's so gross.
Wait, I feel like it's better.
It's
if
only
made
good
from
when you make
scratch.
it instant. No.
I used to love oatmeal.
Wait,
I
you know
really
what
did.
kind of oatmeal is really good? I know this might sound kind of weird, but when you're cooking it, okay, you cook it with some kind of milk. So I like almond milk. You heat up the milk, then you put in peanut butter to the milk, and it heats up.
Okay.
Then you put the
I've
oats
done
in,
that, and that's good.
and then I put strawberries
but
on
that's
top.
too much work.
Strawberry
And
peanut butter?
I'm telling you, it was so I can't. And then
Okay.
sugar. It is so good. I can't even explain how
I
good
don't
it
know
is.
about
Like
that.
so good. I should make it one time.
I don't know. I got time for that.
Not
these
that I make
days.
breakfast for any of you people ever. Okay, so let's go to our 4 perspectives.
Our 4 pops.
So today, we're going to share
Today.
our 4 perspectives. Oh my gosh, I didn't even tell you what the topic of the day is before. I'm supposed to tell you that first. Guys, the topic that we're going to discuss today, later on, the main topic is subtle red flags in friendships.
Oof.
I know this is a really popular topic because the other day I saw it was a really big search. Toxic friends was a really big search. And I know that's just really common to deal with toxic friends. So we'll get to it later. That's coming up. But for now, we're going to share our 4 perspectives. What's your number 1 dating deal breaker?
Now, okay.
This is really hard, actually.
Is this this is not like a red flag thing. This is like a different thing, right?
Deal breaker. Okay, so I said it can't be, someone who believes nothing even close to what I believe, and I hate everything about them, and we never will get along. Because that's like, duh, you're not going to date in the first place.
Obvious.
Okay, wait,
So I'm saying, assume you actually connect with this person on some level, but then it's like, ooh, that thing just happened. Deal breaker. That's my number 1 deal breaker. Okay, listen, don't let the number 1 scare you. Just like red a flag. High up there deal breaker. Okay?
But is it a red flag too or not?
I don't know. It could not be.
It could not be.
Someone who's like vegan might be like someone who is obsessed with meat. That's my number 1 deal breaker, and that might be a red flag to them. But I don't think that's a red flag.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's your own personal deal breaker.
Your own personal boss.
Not everyone has the same deal breakers.
Okay. Who's starting?
My deal breaker
I'm so
is
interested.
if you can't take a joke. I literally can't speak to you if you can't take a joke. You be the best person, nice person, but if I'm like, haha, joke, and you're like, what do you mean? Like, I literally can't do it.
Have you met a lot of guys who couldn't take a joke?
Yes, and they're so sensitive, like, oh, what the heck? And I'm like, it is a joke. It's a joke.
Wow.
I can't do it.
I haven't
It
encountered that
literally
much.
drives me crazy. Like, I can't speak. I can't talk.
Sounds like a toxic person, TBH.
Maybe.
Just saying. Okay, what do you guys think?
I'm trying to think of how to condense this, but basically my red flag is one particular person I'm thinking of that I dated. Oh, deal breaker is basically mean, like rude, harsh, makes you want to cry every time you go on a date with them. Yeah, like
which is confusing. So I'm like, why were you dating them?
Because you kept thinking that, I don't know, like, okay, it's like, it's not like the whole time you're with them they're mean. Like, sometimes they're really, it's
but
good.
they have moments where they're so harsh, you're like, okay, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah, I think in my mind, this person, it was like, I built them up to be the perfect man from far away. And then when we actually hung out, I was almost in tears every time because he was like, but why do you think that? Why? And just like so like mean about
demanding
and just combative and harsh, and everything had to be an argument. And I was literally like, okay, this time we're gonna go on a date again, and I'm gonna avoid all the topics that are too serious so that I won't get upset.
Oh my God.
And he still made me want to cry. So it's like, yeah, I would just say like really harsh and like blunt, but like, I don't know, my husband's blunt, but not in like a mean way. So it's like, just that, you know what I mean? That type of person that's just very like a sword just like stabbing you.
But it's interesting that this guy ended up realizing that relationships.
Let's not get
romantic relationships weren't for him at all. So interesting.
It happens.
Interesting.
He may have entered
story.
the priesthood.
Yeah.
That may have happened. So,
Was he?
So
and God bless his soul. He is a very
bless.
nice man now, but not when we were in our 20s.
It happens.
Well, I'm still in my 20s.
you want to say? Wait, did you say yours?
No.
Number 1 deal breaker.
Here's the thing. I feel like there's 2 that I'm thinking of.
Just
that
tell us one.
They give me,
Come on.
I feel bad.
What? Why do you
it's
feel
kind of the
bad,
opposite
Amy?
of Lauren.
Just
Is
tell us one.
someone that makes fun of me too much. I
Yes.
can't deal with that.
You mean people
like,
go,
you're gonna
"What
make
was
me
that?"
cry.
Oh
Yes.
my
These are all
God.
red flags.
Like your
TBH.
gut. Lauren never does that. You don't go like, oh, what was that?
Here, side note, don't do that. If you do that, just stop.
I like
just
it
don't
when,
do it.
okay, wait. I think sometimes when people do it, it's kind of playful, and then sometimes when they do it, it's really annoying.
There's very few types of people that can say
That
it
can
and it's
pull it
not
off without
I
annoying.
would say
really
that is
annoying.
pulled off about 15% of the time.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree with that.
Most of the time
fair.
it's bitter and judgmental.
Okay, annoying people are drawn to doing that, but not all people do that are annoying. I have to say, some
Yeah.
people are just like playful, but not.
No, I don't like it. Like, if you make fun of me, I can't be around you. I'm sorry.
No offense, but
I already get it from her all day, so it's
People
like,
that make fun of Amy, that's a special brand of evil.
yeah, because
It is a red flag.
It is.
Amy's literally the nicest
Thank
person.
you.
So it's like, wait, why are you?
People that make fun of her, I'm like, you're just threatened. You're threatened by a good
'cause
time.
I will start crying. I will literally start crying, and I can't.
Unless
we
they
can't
do it out
that.
of love. Some people do it out of
There's
love.
a way. There's like roasting, and then there's like making fun of. There's like
Yeah.
a
like
distinction.
trying to make themselves feel like kind of like in control in a weird way.
Yes.
Like you're
Yeah.
down a
Oh
little
my
bit.
gosh! Or if you point out something I said was incorrect, in an annoying way, I can't be around.
Oh,
you.
I probably do that to you a lot though.
Yeah. But actually, no offense, I don't really say that many incorrect things. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, and if you want my typos, we're done because
Okay.
that's just, anyway.
Okay.
The other thing, the last one, it's the short one.
You got a lot of different.
I do, because I just get so annoyed. And this one, I feel bad for, so I am sorry. But guys that are too into artistic things, or
Okay, this is a lot of deal breakers.
yeah, that's it.
Okay,
Those
okay.
are the top
Wow.
ones. I just can't do with
Amy's
it.
future husband is like, I hate paintings. I hate music. I hate joy.
No, you can enjoy them, but like
No,
I
she
don't
said
know.
too into.
Yeah.
So you don't want a guy who's like wearing a beret sitting there going,
Yes.
Like it's his personality. his
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
personality. Okay. So speaking of what did you say? Typos? I think I told this before, but you guys probably all don't know this. Okay, so Nick has impeccable grammar and spelling for the most part. Like impeccable.
That's
way
her
better than me.
husband.
But
I always feel
there's-
like I need to explain this to people that don't know. I always feel like there's this one person who stumbled across this podcast and doesn't know us. That's her
What?
husband.
Oh.
I was just telling.
yeah.
Just telling the
But
masses.
there's just one thing. In the beginning, he kept saying definitely instead of definitely, not saying like typing. So then I let it go for probably 3 months. I remember because it was after we moved to Malibu, so that was several months later.
And that was
I
before
let it go
phones
for a
did
while.
spell check. I feel like phones do spell check now.
Yeah.
So
They
then
didn't do it back then.
After a while, I just had to say, Nick, I'm really sorry, but it's definitely. It's not definitely.
That's a deal breaker?
I had to say, no, it wasn't a deal breaker. I just had to point that out. I just want to tell that story.
Oh, okay,
It was
okay.
just a random story. But yeah, I pointed it out and he was like, oh, whatever. And then he always spells it right now. But it was surprising because he has
for
such
you.
great grammar and spelling. I think he wanted to know he was spelling wrong because he cares
yeah.
about grammar.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying it in an annoying way. But anyway, so mine, it was hard to figure out how to word it. Mine is when a guy can't, I don't know how to say this right, like talk about deeper or like emotional things. Like he's so
yeah.
triggered by everything and then like can't acknowledge things. Like couldn't acknowledge that he was like upset or couldn't acknowledge that, or like trying to talk about something deep and he just can't do it. So he wants to avoid a bunch of these things.
Like very uncomfortable about emotions and depth.
And I understand that these things can be uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean you like can't talk about any of them ever.
Yeah.
They just need to
So-
find someone else who's kind of shallow.
Because you
Yes.
love to talk about those things.
Yes, so I wanted to find someone who could talk to me on that level of depth.
Yes.
If not, deal breaker.
Yeah, I feel that.
I relate
Okay,
to that a lot.
That was good.
I don't exactly. I'm a chill guy.
I don't exactly.
I get scared.
What? But we talk about deep stuff all the time, and
you
you join
love
in.
to talk
no,
about
I
deep
do,
stuff.
but I'm saying in relationships.
Oh, if he's talking
Takes me
about
a
shallow stuff a
while.
while, you're like, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm like, we're chilling. We're just vibing, you know?
Well, I agreed in the beginning, but then after a while, I'm like,
Oh, yeah. After a while, you got to be able
well,
to get into
actually
it.
not that long. But I'm like, can we just start talking about like something deeper?
Okay. I always had to reel it back in relationships. I would go too deep and be like, oh, too deep, too soon. Gotta reel it back.
Yeah, there's the balance. Okay,
Gotta have
so,
boundaries.
Number one dating deal breakers. There you go. Let's go to our main topic: toxic friends.
Ooh,
Subtle
I wrote some notes for this.
red flags in relationships.
And
I think
guys,
you made this
listen,
one up, right?
Yes, I made this up. It's subtle red flags, not really obvious things. Like
Your
bully you
friend
to tears
slaps
every
you in
day.
the face. Okay, that's really obvious. I hope that's obvious to you.
Yeah, stuff
I don't know
that's
if
maybe
that's
not super obvious to everyone.
Actually,
like
I've realized
subtleties.
a lot of things that are red flags aren't obvious to people.
Yeah.
Like they actually just think, oh, this is okay, and then later they realize that was so not okay.
Yeah.
So what is subtle? A little
Okay.
confusing.
Oh,
I have a great one to
know.
start us off.
You go, Kathy.
Good, 'cause
Okay.
I can't really think
She
of
came
many.
with notes.
Yeah, I wrote notes. Passive aggressive texting.
No,
Ooh,
ma'am.
that's the
What
first
does that
one.
mean?
Okay, so this is
So
tell me if
annoying.
I always feel like I'm crazy because I've had several of these friends. Tell me if you
is
guys
true.
relate to this. Certain people, they have a pattern in their texting style. So some people just never put punctuation. They never do exclamation points. They never do emojis, and that's just their style. So you know if you're talking to them, they're not mad at you. That's just how they
Like
type.
our mom.
Yeah, like our mom. Okay.
She looks so mad.
So some people just type like, okay, I hate everything. But you know they don't actually hate everything because that's just how they type. But some people, you know who you are, they love to do like, they regularly do exclamations, smileys, like all this like peppy stuff. And then when they're mad at you, they just go, okay. And they change their texting style
Yeah, no.
to like tell you that they're mad in a non-direct way.
Because okay does not mean I'm mad. That means
Yeah.
okay.
Like suddenly they're like, oh yeah, how are you? Exclamation mark. And suddenly they're just like, yeah, that's fine. no punctuation or something,
You're
and you're like,
bro.
you mad? And I've literally been this to people. Are you okay? Are you upset? I'll literally text them that, or I'll call them and be like, hey, I got your text. Were you mad? And they're like, oh no, fine. I'm fine. No, you're just reading it wrong. I was fine. No, you were not fine. I know your texting style. I know your texting style is different, and you just changed it after like a bunch in a row. So that is
because you found this in friendships that you had this problem that later on you ended up either having conversation about yes they were upset, or you just didn't end up being close friends because it didn't work.
Like that's not just the only problem. That is one of many.
But that was a real sign. Even though they denied it, you found later on through experience that it was real. Because Catherine often will say like, this is actually more in the past. She'd be like, this person just said this. Doesn't this sound like they're mad, or am I crazy? And be like, yeah, it does. She's like, but they said they weren't mad. Like, we would talk about this a lot.
Then you try to call them out, and then they gaslight you. So anyway, that always happened to me.
Weird. But, so, it's hard for a lot of people to express anger. But
yeah, it is.
It doesn't really work.
But if I call you out on your anger, you got to tell me that you are angry. Don't be like, I'm not angry, because then you're just making me feel crazy.
So that's a good subtle one.
Okay, I have another one. When someone, every time you hang out and talk pretty much, they just talk about themselves, their life, blah, 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 forever. And then they maybe ask you like one question, like, so how are you? You're like, oh yeah, I'm good, blah, blah, blah. Like, cool. Anyway, so blah, blah, blah. Like they only talk about themselves and not you. It's not necessarily like, oh, they're being mean or horrible person, this or that. But I think that is a subtle red flag, because it's like they don't really care about like involving you in the relationship. They're like, listen to me. Cool.
Yeah, they're like using you to listen the whole time.
That if you call them out on it, like they might change it. Because I actually had that happen with one of my friends, and I told her, I was like, hey, just so you know, like I was having a really hard day, and then you called me and like you only talked about yourself for like 45 minutes, but I really wanted to tell you what was going on with me, and I was kind of sad you never asked. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And she said it did make her feel bad, but then she because she was like embarrassed, but then she realized, and then she really made that change and has not done that.
But is that what you always did every time you hung out?
Not every time, but like a lot of the times.
Because some people literally, they just blah, blah, blah forever about themselves.
Yeah. So if you talk to them about it, have an honest conversation, and they don't do anything, then...
If they don't do anything, some people just want an audience.
That's true. Because some people, you might not realize they're just like a talkative person.
Yeah,
so give them a chance.
I'm very much like that on accident. So then I just learned to ask them first how they're doing, and then jump into myself.
But you also don't want to do that and make it feel like that you're not, I'm not saying you do this. I'm saying you don't want to do that and make it feel like you're just getting it out of the way. Like,
no, you have to genuinely listen.
Okay, so here's about me.
But that way you make sure that you do it.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that you do that. I'm just saying I've seen people do that where you feel like they're just asking you, but they don't actually care.
Good point.
I would say pay attention to how you feel when you leave hanging out with them.
I literally wrote that in my notes too.
Yeah, It's like, do you feel anxious when you leave hanging out with them? Do you feel like exhausted when you leave hanging out with them? Do you feel relieved when you leave hanging out with them?
Ooh, that's not a good
sign. That's a really good point.
Those are not good signs. You should feel like happy or like content,
energized,
yeah,
inspired.
Yeah.
That kind of goes with mine, which is, I don't know, is this a subtle red flag? Well, I think so, maybe. Well, it's even, I guess maybe it is, it's kind of even hard to think about, but like they are on like a lower level than you want to be, like with what they talk about, like the level of things. I don't know if I'm explaining that well. Like I just thinking of this one girl that I went to coffee with a long time ago, a couple years, when we came to Nashville at some point, and she was talking about how she really wanted to release a song or something, and I was like, oh, you do? Well, and then I started, of course, launching into, okay, well, are you recording it? Where are you going to record it? How are you going to do that? How are you going to do artwork? How are you going to do this? How are you going to promote it? Blah, blah, blah. You could do this, you do that. But start talking about plans and stuff, because I was like, oh, that's really cool that that's what you want to do. But then she was just like, oh, and didn't really want to talk about it further than that. But she kept saying that she wanted to do it. But then when we would talk about details, she didn't want to talk about the details at all. And then we would talk about just things in her life. And I always like to talk to people about like things in our life, and then like we both talk about like how we could improve things. But every time she would mention something, I'd be like, oh, well, you could try this or whatever. She would just be like, So she was in a different like level than what I wanted to be at in my life, if that makes sense. It's like if someone's like, oh, I hate working at this place, and then you're like, oh yeah, I hate working at where I work too, and then you're both just like, yeah. Like I don't want to do that. I'm like, oh, well, what are some other options? What are other things you like to do? Like I had this other friend and she was talking about how she wanted to own her own dance studio. And we talked about it a lot. And then like a year and a half later, she owned her own dance studio, and it's still going on right now and thriving, doing really well, which was really cool because we would talk about it, her plans and stuff. So the other girl, it doesn't necessarily mean she's like a bad person or something. I think she was just like at a different stage of life. I don't know if she ever went up to a different stage, but that's not the stage that I wanted to be at. So for me, it was like if I'm around people who are kind of like dragging me down in a way, I mean, that really does happen. If you're around people who just don't really have kind of the same goals as you, that thing that's like you're the
sum of your 5 closest friends.
Okay, I think that thing is pretty true. From what I've experienced, if you're around people who are like really thinking big, you do think bigger, and you're around people who think really small, you tend to think smaller.
Yeah, and it is really draining to be in conversations all the time where you're just talking about other people or things that are like not good in your life or their life, and it's just kind of like
like more negative,
like
things.
negative,
yeah. And
it's
it doesn't
kind of
feel
subtle because it
good.
could be like, oh, we're just talking about whatever, but then it's like, I think it's kind of a red flag that it's not going to be a like life-giving friendship.
Yeah.
It's not like they're a bad person. It's
Yeah.
just like
It's just like that's where they are and what they like to like talk about and do.
Yeah, and I was going to add to what Christina said. I thought you were going to say this when you began, but then I realized you had a different direction. But I was just going to say people that in general just gossip, and that's all they really do is talk
such a
about
red
other
flag.
people, because it's really sad. I mean, I feel like gossiping is like you feel like you don't have anything to say about your own life, so you just want to talk about other people's lives, and I mean, I've been there before, so it's really sad, and that's not a positive way to be a friend. It doesn't mean that you can't talk about people that you know or like things that have happened that involve you,
but like all you do
is talk about other people, and then if people ask you about your own life, you don't want to talk about it. That can be really not a good sign.
And especially if it's like you're talking about drama, like, oh my gosh, did you hear this
Oh,
person?
yeah, the drama.
This happened. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's so annoying. Blah, 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 whatever. That is just so toxic. I feel like it's hard. Okay, it's hard not to talk about anyone at all, period, especially because I like to talk about everything anyone does ever. Psychologically, I'm like, oh, I wonder if she did that because of this. You know, this thing is like this, and her personality was like this, and then she did this thing, which was this, whatever. But I don't want it to be like, oh, like insulting people behind their backs.
Yeah,
it just does not
they
feel
say
good.
like if you just talk about someone as if they were in the room, don't say anything you wouldn't be comfortable saying to their face. Behind their
Also,
back.
yeah, that's
That
a
is a
really good
hard
rule
one.
because you never know what's gonna
I
get
feel
back
like her
to
childhood
them.
trauma contributes. I wouldn't necessarily say that.
But also, it's like you never know what's gonna get back to them.
I like
too.
to learn from other people's.
I pretend that they're in the room, and
Yeah.
I sometimes don't meet that standard because that's a pretty high standard to meet.
It is a good thing to
but just
try
think
for
of it.
I
I try
do
to give
think-
them the benefit of the doubt.
I do think that I'm like, if they hear that I said this, will I be willing to back this up? Who has another red flag? Subtle
Okay.
red flag.
I don't know. This is not subtle to me, but I think it probably is to other people. If you notice a pattern with someone where they're like, oh, my friend, love them, they're great. And then they're like, I hate them, they're the worst person ever. We're not friends
Ooh.
anymore. And like, there's certain people where it's like, it always seems like, oh, they have this friend and they love them and they're great. And then suddenly it's like, I hate them, they're the worst person ever. It's like,
Yikes.
how do
That's
you
a good
go from being friends to like hating people so much? Like, because I hear that and I think like, okay,
That's
so
a good
just
point.
because we're friends right now, you would not hesitate to like
Badmouth
roast
me?
me behind my back later because
Yeah.
you're literally doing this to all your other friends.
Yeah, that's definitely a red flag.
Yeah,
And
I'll-
I guess that also goes with like people who talk badly about their friends behind their backs
Yes.
to you. If they're talking badly about other people, they're talking badly about you to other people.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
or if they're not, they would if you did
I
something.
feel like it feels like you're bonding in the moment. You're like, oh, we're both talking about this person. And you think, oh, no, they wouldn't talk about me this way because we're both talking about this person. But that is so not true.
It
They
ain't
totally
true.
would talk
every
about
time
you.
I'm like, all right, so you would say many things about me. Cool.
yeah,
That's
that
what I
ain't a
always
good
think.
sign at
Like,
all.
okay.
yeah, I would say people that are or not okay, hypercritical. That is a subtle red flag that we don't necessarily notice, but it just chips away at your
like about what
self-
stuff do you think?
Anything. It's like you're wearing off. They're like, oh, that shirt. You wear your hair a different way.
I would notice that.
Your hair. Oh, you want to watch a certain movie. Oh, that's dumb.
I guess some people tolerate a lot of
people
that.
tolerate a lot of it.
Even one comment like that, I'd be like, excuse me? But people do tolerate a lot of that.
I tolerated a lot of that in my friendships. People literally said things like that to me.
Which I'm like, how do you? But
I
I think most people do. So that is something to remind you guys. That is definitely not right.
Not right.
Because they're like, because then when you call them out on it, that was a note that I made. Then they're just like, oh, just joking. Like,
yeah, because
people, I wasn't being serious.
But tell
people
a
can
knock
also
joke.
okay. People can also say rude comments as a joke, like.
Yes,
You're so
this.
stupid.
Yes, like I witnessed this one time with my friend. Like I met her other friends, and they were like, she was wearing like sweatpants or something, and they were wearing like more like dressed up clothes, or not like dressed up, but like jeans and whatever. And they're like, wow, you look so comfortable. I wish I could dress like that. Like, oh, ha ha ha, but it's like, that's rude. Like, you're saying like, you look ugly. I wish I had the confidence to do that.
Telling someone they look comfortable is an insult? Because people have told me that a lot.
No.
It depends on the person.
Because I was wondering, I was like, wait, people tell me
like,
I look
if
comfortable.
I'm wearing like jeans that are squeezing me and I see someone wearing like not that, I'm like, oh, you look so comfortable. Wish I was you.
If they're wearing
You
like
probably
a
just get a
soft
vibe.
outfit.
But I've never said that to someone because I feel like it's weird. But
I feel like I never think people look comfortable, except for when Amy is wearing the blanket that I gave her.
well, sometimes someone's wearing like really cozy outfit. They're wearing like sweats, and you're like,
that's
oof.
true.
Yeah.
Guys, I'll just feel someone's sweater and be like, oh, it's really soft. I want to wear that.
It's different.
Is that weird?
That's a different.
different.
That's a different one.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, what other subtle
Also, I
red
want to
flags?
say that I feel like. Do you guys feel like, okay, this is very off topic, but do you feel like we talk differently with each other than we would with a friend? Because I feel like I will just blow off steam with you guys and be like ranting about stuff and sound like a very rude person. But I would never say that to my friends. You know what I mean? Like, I think of you guys as an extension of my brain. So it's like, I could tell you something that I wouldn't tell another friend, like in confidence or something, because I'm like, oh, they would never tell. Not that I tell. If someone tells me not to tell, I'm not going to tell. I'm like pretty good about keeping secrets. But I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like it's different with your sisters. Do you guys relate to that?
Sometimes, yes.
Some friends I talk the same way, where I'm like, this sounds really rude, but just here's how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'll be like to you guys, that's the worst person ever. But then I'm like, okay, I know I'm being dramatic. They understand. They don't think I'm
Well,
actually
you
that.
don't actually say anything like that, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I blow off steam sometimes when I'm mad. But
Yeah.
I don't actually think that. I'm just in a mood. I don't
I
know.
think my problem is I talk about people's childhood trauma way too much. Just
I would
because,
say, yeah.
not because I'm trying to gossip about them, just because I'm so
Analytical.
curious
Well, I feel like
to
you're-
analyze them. But I know, I'm like,
Well, I mean, I feel like at all times you're running like a clinical study
Yes.
in your brain,
Yeah.
and it's not in a
Yes.
gossipy or tearing
but
down
I'm like,
way.
oh, I gotta chill.
But you're running a clinical study,
Yeah.
so you gotta.
It's really annoying.
I
but
feel like a lot of people have gotten, this is so off topic again, but people have gotten really annoyed at us for our interest in personality psychology.
only a
Yeah.
certain
They're
type
like,
of person.
I don't want to be put in a box.
Yeah.
I don't like the Enneagram.
Yeah.
I don't like this. I don't like MBTI because I don't want to be put in a box. And people are not the same, and you can't categorize them.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? That is a very valid point of view that I just don't relate to. So, just saying.
I mean, I get it.
If someone's like that is totally their, that, you know,
we
their
don't
power.
really try to.
But I think we
ever
don't really,
convince them we're like-
we don't really get along with people, because that's like such a thing we talk about a lot.
Because we like to break things down and analyze them in depth. And that
Yes.
person's like, nope, there's no depth
'Cause
to analyze.
We'll analyze one aspect of personality psychology for probably 2 to 3 years.
Because
at
it's
the minimum.
interesting to
Yeah.
us. We're just
Yeah.
really interested in it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I wonder what causes this thing, or I wonder if this is connected to this. And then we just
it's
wonder
not
for a
because
while.
you're trying to put people in a box. It's because you're trying to understand intention and human behavior. Like,
Why
yeah.
are we obsessed with that? I just
But
feel
humans
like
are
I
very
don't
complex.
naturally understand at all. So I'm just
Yeah,
trying really
same.
hard to understand.
yeah, I don't know. This whole thing about just talking about people is making me think about the way we talk about people. And I'm like,
Yeah.
there's so many facets to it.
There
Yeah, I
really
agree.
are. There really
I
are.
just took it very off topic of
Yeah.
red flags.
Okay, let's get a couple more red flags.
Okay,
in.
I would say one that I've experienced is really flaky.
Oh, I
Like,
was gonna
if
say
you have
that.
to go off of
Yes.
a gut vibe if someone's going to come to something or not, and they're not going to tell you whether or not they're going to come, and then they drop off the face of the earth for 2 days after they don't show up.
Oh my!
It's
How many
not
chances
the best.
do you have?
Years.
One.
Oh,
I'm bad.
I give
Oh.
2.
Yeah, after 2, I'm like, you're never
I'm like,
gonna show up.
Maybe it was a fluke, and the second time, I'm like, this is a pattern.
Because I
No.
genuinely have friends where I've had friends where I think they are genuinely such a good person, but I cannot count on them for anything.
Yes, and it's
And
so
that's
sad
horrible.
because
You want to hang out with them.
when we hang out, it's so great. Like we have such good conversations,
Yes.
great time. But you never get to hang out because they're always like, "Oh, disappeared,
Yeah.
lost in the wind."
And
Yeah.
you
That's
feel
so
like a
true.
crazy
It's so
person.
sad.
Why are a lot of those people so fun
Well,
and
I love-
great to hang out with?
I think
a
like I'm thinking of
problem-
one, and she's so
Yes,
amazing to
they're
hang
always
out with.
so like nice and like.
I think the
Fun.
problem is they're afraid to say no in the first place. Because, like, if you can't hang out, don't say that you can. You know, like, I think they really want to, and they're like, oh, I have this like 10 million things that day, but like, I'm sure
Well,
I
and
can
I
squeeze
don't
it in.
a lot
know why
going
you
on
can't
normally.
just say that you can't when you can't.
Because they are afraid of
When
letting
it's
you down.
coming down, when
it's
the
like-
time has come.
I think it's like too much conflict.
It's a huge fear.
But
It
that
sounds
makes
like.
letting you down even
And I
worse.
get it.
Makes it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
it's
a
really
subtle red
hard
flag.
because it really wears you down, and it's not like good
That's
for your
horrible.
soul.
I can't do it.
And it's just so sad because they're some of the best people. Oh, so upset. Ugh.
Okay, this is not really necessarily a red flag, but it is to me personally. It might not be to someone else, but it is to me.
Oh, I'm interested.
Which this is just like you have to know certain people are not going to be good friends for you, not because they're necessarily like a bad person, but because you're just not meshing.
Not a good match.
So like a red flag in that sense to me is people that like want to go out and do things and spend money all the time. I'm like, I don't
That's
want to do
same
that.
for me.
We cannot, like, this is not going to work if you're like, oh, we got to go like to the grand opening or whatever.
To
I'm
the
like, I don't
Grammys.
care
I thought
about
you
the
were gonna say
grand
that.
opening or like the street fair. I
Oh
don't
my
want to go. I
gosh.
don't care. And if you can't just like sit home and hang out, like that's what I like to do. So it's like that's a red flag for me. Not like people that like to go out and do stuff, but that's all they like to do and they don't like to like chill. I'm like, this is not gonna work.
That's a
gonna
great
work.
point.
We've talked about that before, how there's kind of like 2 types of people basically when it comes to that. And it's like people who really like to do all the stuff and they
things.
really like to be out there and be at all of the grand openings. And then people who are like, no, I would rather die. I would rather, actually, no, most of the time I'd rather die, but every once in a while I'll be like, okay, I would rather not do that.
I have a theory on that. I think it might be, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but I think when people only want to hang out if it's like this grand event, it's because they are afraid of being vulnerable.
You're
Because
so right.
when you're just at home in your sweats,
That is a lot more
and you guys are just
vulnerable.
like talking and like making food, that is like not a glamorous version of you, and you're probably going to be more susceptible to talking about personal things. So I think, I don't know, I could be wrong on that. That could just be a generalization.
if you're like in a restaurant or in a crowd or
It's
just
more
doing
just like
something more
fun,
fun.
light, like, oh, how's work? Oh, it's great. Yeah, how's
Like
your
if you
work?
only want to do that.
Yeah.
Not if you just
Which
do
there's
that,
nothing
period.
wrong with going.
Yeah,
'cause
There's some people that love to go to the grand opening, this and that, but they also like to hang out.
It's both. I like to go to the
Yes.
grand opening sometimes.
Yes.
You know,
Yes,
the
I'm
grand
thinking
opening.
of something
like a concert. I want to go to a
I'm
concert.
thinking of someone specific, and she loves to do every grand opening thing. But on like the drive there, she'll have like deep, really great conversations.
That also
Yeah.
And
sounds
she
like
really
me.
likes both.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's not what I'm
someone
talking
who
about.
only
Yes.
wants to do that, and they absolutely grand opening. They absolutely don't just want to hang out and just chill.
Guys, I'm thinking of this person that
that
just
doesn't
shows
work
up
for
to all
me.
these ribbon cuttings. They're like, here to cut the ribbon. Hopefully you understand what we're saying.
Also, I would say someone that is just genuinely disrespectful. And I think a lot of people don't understand like how
What
they
it
should
is.
be treated and what is respectful and what is not
True.
respectful.
What's like an example of
like
that?
just someone who doesn't respect your boundaries, they don't respect your time, they don't respect your things.
Like kind of
Anything.
pushy.
Yeah, they're pushy, that you feel forced into a lot of things.
Like you constantly have to be repeating things or reminding of things or defending yourself all
Yeah.
the time. It's like, wait, why do I have to constantly do this? Why are they constantly pushing
yeah,
everything?
or if they like are making fun of you a lot. I'm just real passionate about not making fun of people.
Okay.
yeah.
Because I will cry.
Is this like when people I've seen this happen in people's like marriage / dating relationships where like one person's telling a story And the other person's like, that didn't happen. No, it didn't. No, it was on a Tuesday. No, it was a purple shirt. What are you talking about? You made that up. They literally are acting like this person is insane. And that is your partner. Why are you talking to your partner like that?
Yeah.
If you think they're crazy, why did you marry them? Or why are you dating them? Or why are you in a friendship with them? Like, if you genuinely think this person is out of their mind and has a false sense of reality, why are you in a relationship with them or in a friendship with them? Like, that's just
True.
Always blows my mind. I'm just sit there and I'm like, if you really don't like them that much or don't respect them, why are you around them?
I was talking about this exact thing before, how Nick kind of does not the correcting thing. He kind of does embellishing his story sometimes, but so do I. And he never calls me out on embellishing anything. So, I was like,
wait,
okay.
what's an example of how you would embellish?
Just like making it a little more dramatic.
A little more
not
dramatic.
Not like a really dramatic, not like a huge
my
embellishment.
jaw dropped. It's like, did it?
Yeah, just making it a little
I was down
heightened.
to my last pair of underwear. Really, I had 3 left. Okay.
Yeah, okay, like that. Not like
I needed to do laundry right now. I was going to explode. Okay.
Like that. Not like, then I went to Jamaica when I really didn't go anywhere. Not that. But
That's
I'm
not
just
embellishing.
saying,
That's a flat out lie.
yeah, exactly. I'm saying just like the underwear thing, basically.
It's just
Just adding some
dramatizing.
spice. I
But
think I
yeah,
do
it
that
made
too.
me realize, Nick doesn't call me out if I'm being really dramatic. So if he's being dramatic in his story, embellishing, I'm just like,
You're like, I hadn't eaten all day. But
interesting
it was like
perspective.
4 hours ago.
It's different from what I saw, but
Okay.
just go for it.
Do you say that?
Live your life. No, I don't say it. I just think it and I go,
That's an interesting perspective. Different than what I would say. But just go for it.
because I'm like, sometimes I do that. It's okay, whatever. Not the worst thing.
I do it too, honestly. Who doesn't?
I'm just trying to
don't
support
think
him
I
in
do
his
that.
storytelling. I'm like, interesting.
That's funny.
Okay,
I
that was.
think I can just make any detail really dramatic in the way that I say it, so I'm pretty true
Yeah,
to
it's
details.
like the
You
delivery.
don't say.
Whoa!
That's a not so subtle red flag though, is actual lying.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Especially when people lie all the time and say, I'm a really honest person.
Oh my gosh, it's so
People
weird.
don't have to
No,
make
no, no.
qualifying
Our
statements
brother,
about
says
themselves.
that, our brother says that that's a red flag when
yeah.
someone says to be honest all the time or honestly or I'm a really honest person, stuff like that. He says he finds that a lot of lying, scammy type of people tend to do that a lot. Not everyone, obviously, but a lot of people.
Well, if you have to qualify yourself, like, oh yeah, I'm really honest. Oh, I'm a really good guy.
Yeah,
really
we
good
used to
person.
say
No,
that guys that have to say they're a good guy are not a good guy.
they're not.
Because
Yeah.
good guys
So
just be
weird.
a good guy without having to like tell you that they are. And I feel like
Exactly.
that applies to friends too. It's like you don't have to say all your qualities, you just be them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great place to end the segment, and we can move on to Sister Spotlight. I don't know if you guys guess who it would be this week, but Sister Spotlight, we
do we
put
not do this anymore?
the
Let me do
spotlight
it.
on a different sister every week. We have Get Real with Christina, Sassy or Sappy Thoughts with Kath, Lisa's Corner, is that what we're calling it? I keep forgetting.
Lisa's wacky corner.
Amy's Current Crisis, and Lauren's Take. And this week, the spotlight
dizzy.
goes
me too.
on ding. Is it Sappy?
Sappy.
Sappy Thoughts with Kath.
Yeehaw!
Hey guys.
Well, you don't have the shawl, do you?
Welcome. Oh,
The
I forgot my
sappiest
shawl.
one.
It's okay. Well, we're telling the jacket's a shawl.
No, it's okay.
I have a
No,
towel.
it's okay. I don't need a towel.
Because like I will
I don't
not be
need
putting
I don't need
a
a shawl to be
towel
sappy.
on me.
Okay.
I forgot I do have a nursing cover that I could have used as a shawl, but oh well. Okay, so today's topic is inspired by real life events, and I wanted to call it "It's Okay to Cry."
Oh my
Love it.
gosh. This is
So,
very Kath.
I cried in front of a stranger today.
What? Okay.
Yeah, so
I
let
feel
me tell
like I've
you.
never done that.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little quick
Except for
story
like
to
our
start,
concerts, but that doesn't
to
really
start
count.
my topic. So I went to a workout class this morning,
Oh.
and
Am I gonna start
he's laughing already. And it was really hard, and I felt like I was gonna puke. And afterwards, the instructor was like, "Do you want me to give you some modifications?" And I was like, "Oh, she thinks I'm horrible." So she started. So this is like everyone had left. It was just me and her, luckily. But I still did not know this person. I've never met her. I didn't know her from Adam or Sam or whatever they say.
A teacher?
From
Adam or
So, So she pulls me aside and she's like, here's some modifications. And I was like, oh, it's so hard. And I was like, I used to be so much more like able to do these exercises, like fit, and now I can't do anything. And I felt like I was gonna puke. She was like, it's okay. She gave me a hug. She's like, don't worry, I understand. I was postpartum too. So when I was driving away, I was still crying, and I was like, you know what, Kat, it's okay to cry. And I thought about it, and I was like, crying does not make you weak.
Yeah.
Amen.
And yeah, it is embarrassing to cry in front of someone you don't know. I hate that.
Kat, I guarantee you're not the first person to cry in front of her after a class. I guarantee you.
Sounds like she really likes to comfort people, and it comes out of them.
Maybe. I don't know.
Sounds like she knows.
She was like, oh, I've been where you are. I get it. So
she's like, I know this.
Like whenever I'm in court and the judge is like, someone always cries.
Yeah. It was
very common.
I just want to say, I try so hard not to cry. Like, I'll just be like,
Aww.
I'm like flexing my cry muscles, trying to hold it in.
Oh, Kathy.
But I just wanted to say to anyone that's cried in front of someone that you don't know, or just in public, and you felt embarrassed, I just want to say it's okay, and then I'm with you. And I wanted to share something about crying that I learned that is just sort of a good thought. So, this is from a Healthline article. I can't take the credit. There's 3 types of tears. There's reflex tears, no, seriously, this has a point, I promise. Reflex tears, continuous tears, and emotional tears. Reflex tears are like when smoke or dust gets in your eye and you start blinking and you tear
have
up.
Contacts.
Right. Continuous tears lubricate your eyes and protect them from infections. That's like when your eyes are wet in general. But emotional tears, ooh, this is so cool. It really is. Emotional tears, they say may have many health benefits. Whereas continuous tears contain 98% water, emotional tears contain stress hormones and other toxins. Researchers have theorized that crying flushes these things out of your system, though more research is needed in this area.
Oh,
wow.
So I just wanted to share that with you in case you feel like, because I feel like some people have been shamed for crying by their
That's
families.
such a thing, especially
as a
boys.
man.
When you're a boy, mom.
I was like, I have 2 sons.
I'm like, let
and
it out, Bear.
the thought
Let
of them
it
being
out.
shamed for crying, I'm
like, no one better ever.
My inner Viking just comes out.
I know.
I just want to rescue them from any pain. But, I can't do that. Everyone's got to feel their own pain. But anyway, I just wanted to say that there is a point to crying. That's why I shared that little factoid. Because crying has a purpose. And it does help it physically helps your body lighten the load. And it helps you to feel better. And you're not weak if you cry. And you're not embarrassing or embarrassed.
Yeah, Kat, I cry in public all the time. It's
That's
fine.
my unorganized but short, sappy thoughts of Kathy. I almost said sass though.
Kat, that was really nice.
So yeah,
It was
it's okay
sappy.
to cry.
I appreciated it, Kat.
For your contribution.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, that's all we have for you today. Once again, if you want to check out, I guess, the last and the coming one that I mentioned, those are both, right? Am I saying that right? Those are both Patreon only?
Yeah.
Yes, I said it right. Those 2 episodes I mentioned at the beginning, both Patreon only. Join, link in the description. Check it out. Try for a month. See if you like it. There's so many podcast episodes in there. So if you're a podcast stan, you will love our Patreon. We'll see you guys in the next episode on Patreon or the next episode on YouTube. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Cimorelli podcast. Follow Cimorelli on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube. You can also find Cimorelli on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.